Jackie, I think we're ready to get started.
All right, thank you. Welcome to the meeting on Somos. My name is Jackie Fishman, and I'm a principal at Consensus Planning. And I was asked to help facilitate this meeting and talk about certain aspects of our project. With me this evening is Felipe Real from Greater Albuquerque Housing Partnership. He's going to be speaking right after me. And then also Victor Munoz from Design Group. He is one of the project architects and will be making a presentation. Question and answer period will be done at the end of our presentation. This is a relatively brief presentation, and we'd like to make sure to leave time for people to ask whatever questions you may have. With that, I am going to turn this over to Felipe, and we'll turn to the next slide.
Good evening. My name is Felipe Rael, and I'm the Executive Director of the Greater Albuquerque Housing Partnership. Next slide. Our mission is to create exceptional housing that promotes household stability and vibrant communities. We were formed over 30 years ago as the first citywide community housing development organization. And then since that time, we built close to 700 units of affordable housing and over 110 units of for-sale single-family housing for first-time homebuyers. We feature sustainable, healthy, high-quality homes for seniors and families. Next slide. This is just some examples of our award-winning design. If you look at the bottom middle, this is Casa Feliz. That, along with its sister property, Plaza Feliz, is about 150 units of affordable housing that we've developed in the International District and additional other projects that we've developed throughout the city. To give you a little idea, next slide, of what it looks like in the interiors, we've got shuffleboard courts, beautiful entry lobbies, community gathering spaces, all of it designed to really have people work out inside and outside of the community. And we really try and be kind of good neighbors for every community and neighborhood that we choose to come into. That's all I have in terms of comments, and I'd love to spend more time just if there's any additional questions. These are some interiors of the units, just giving you an idea of the quality and attention to detail that we choose to provide for the residents that call our apartments home.
All right. This is Jackie Fishman again. Thank you for this slide. I'm just going to go over a few fun facts about the property, which is at Alcazar and Central, it's a relatively small site, just under an acre. But this just a broad view of this area. This site is within the Near Heights MR plan, which was established in 2000 and called for the establishment of the international marketplace and included, if you're familiar with the old Blue Spruce packaged liquor store, which attracted a lot of negative activity in the area. But the plan also called for the development of the Tallinn Market to the west of the site. It also looked at creating a greater community presence by adding housing and small commercial shops that would contain local and diverse businesses to the area. The planning process took over 20 years, but with this project, we feel like we're finally helping the city achieve this vision. The existing zoning on the site is MXM, which is mixed use moderate intensity. Again, the site is just shy of an acre, but GAP is very familiar with developing multifamily sites on small parcels. The project will follow the IDO, which is the Integrated Development Ordinance, if people are familiar with that. We do anticipate a single variance that would allow us to preserve the existing sidewalks along Central and a portion of the sidewalks along Alcazar as well. The partnership for this project will be with Alex Horton and the International District Economic Development Corporation, and will provide commercial space to small businesses incubated through his program so that they are from and serve the neighborhood. New affordable rental housing was described in the May 2023 report from area service providers as a predominant need within the international district. So we were helping to address that need with this project. Once we are done with the presentation, of course, Felipe will come back on, and you're welcome to visit the GAP website. He showed some examples of other projects, but it will give you a little bit more information about this project that we're proposing currently. Now I'm going to turn this over to Victor to talk a little bit more about the site plan and design group's design for the project. Go ahead, Victor.
Thank you. Can we move on to the next slide, please? So, hi again. My name is Victor Munoz. I'm one of the architects at the Hartman-Majewski Design Group. It's a pleasure to have the opportunity to present the Somos project to you all. So what we're looking at here is we decided to place the building up on the north west corner up along Central and Alcazar. This allowed for a better pedestrian experience by having eyes on the street on both sidewalks and on both roads. What's really nice about this too is we were able to locate the secured parking on the south east corner of the site. It's allowing for a safer experience for the tenants and their cars. We're also locating the car entry on the southern end of the site along Alcazar. We're keeping it away from the busy hustle and bustle on Central, and it's allowing for a safer in and out onto the secured parking and a safer pedestrian experience for people as well. We decided to place the entry on the north west corner of the site, once again at the corner of Central and Alcazar. This is located up against an existing African motif pillar with a really beautiful mosaic mural on there. It's actually one of many in this part of the neighborhood that expresses a lot of the wonderful cultural diversity that you see here at the surrounding the Tallinn Market. So we're respecting the existing motif and celebrating it and bringing the entrance up next to it. Off the entry, you're going to have a welcoming lobby, and we'll provide an on-site leasing office. The commercial entry to the site is going to be located on the south end of the wing of the project. This is going to allow for a lot of visibility and pedestrian connectivity to the existing commercial spaces. We're starting to create a node of commercial activity. We're activating the streetscape with wonderful shade trees and amazing site furnishings. If we move on to the next slide, we can start to capture a little bit of this image as well. What we want to do is by creating this commercial node is we want to, once again, activate the streetscape. We want to support future farmers markets that happen in this location and World Fair celebrations and festivals that can take place as well. The amenities are going to be located along Central Avenue. We will locate a large community room up in this portion on the first floor. We'll also have indoor bike storage for a more secure bike storage solution. We'll have an elevator that connects all 4 floors, and we'll have an upstairs lounge that will face Central, and it's going to capture wonderful views of the volcanoes to the west and a little bit of the Sandias to the east. It's going to have an amazing mural that's going to face central. This mural is going to celebrate the rich cultural diversity of the International District. And then, of course, in the future, if funds are available, we'd like to see if we can potentially add a roof deck off this lounge just below the mural to further bring activity to this corner. Can we move on to the next slide, please? So the elevations are going to be full of vibrant, expressive colored patterns that are going to serve as the vibrant backdrop to the international marketplace. It's going to create a visual relationship with the Tallinn marketplace, as well as all the vibrant, colorful businesses around this part of the neighborhood. Um, Colorful awnings and commercial landscaping are going to transform this underutilized and vacant lot into much needed housing options for smaller households. It's going to bring significant investment to support the surrounding local businesses. We're excited for this opportunity, and we really hope to be able to transform this lot into the potential that we see for this project. I'll go ahead and turn it back to, so here are some aerial views that start to capture some of the vibrancy of the Somos apartment complex that you're starting to see with the wonderful mural captured on the corner of Central and Alcazar, and then some of the activity, the commercial activity to the south with the beautiful colored awnings that start to connect to the Tallinn marketplace. A couple of more personal, more intimate person perspective renderings that capture the potential of this commercial node to the south, how it starts to engage with the future farmers market that could take place here as well, and potential coffee shops and little shops on the commercial side of the Somos development. I'll go ahead and turn it back to Felipe. Thank you for your time.
Sure. Thank you, Victor. So just let you know where we are in the process. There was an RFP issued by the Metropolitan Redevelopment Agency that we applied to. We had a first hearing with the Albuquerque Development Commission, and so we're working to actively negotiate a development agreement with the MRA department at the city. There's also a current home application RFP that's currently set to close the first week of November that we are applying for. Utilizing those two sources, we'll submit for additional funding applications in early 2024, work with Hartman and Majewski Design Group and Consensus Planning to get our site plan and zoning approvals by the end of 2024, moving towards design documents, getting our building permit with the anticipation of starting construction in Q1 of 2025. And at this point, we'd like to stand for any questions from anyone in the community. Not seeing any questions or in the chat or any hands raised. We'd like to thank you for coming to tonight's meeting. If you have any additional questions, if you oh sure, I do see one from JC. Target tenants. So we are going to be targeting residents in the city of Albuquerque. So this will be a big A affordable housing. The idea is it would be utilizing kind of home funds from the city of Albuquerque. And we'd be targeting households at or below 60% of area median income. Oh, sure. The retail tenants. Awesome. So the question is, do you have any retail tenants in mind? We've designed this space in coordination with the IDCDC, the International District Community Development Corp. They have a business incubator program with the idea is it takes someone with an idea and within 12 months it gets them kind of business ready. What they found that the biggest issue that those incubator participants have is just finding retail space that will lease to them. And so we don't have any specific tenant base in Realm other than it's kind of folks in the community looking to serve the community. It's going to be about 1,000 foot. It'll probably be 2 to 3 pods of space, so it won't be a big space. But the idea is it would be connecting in with kind of the Greater Tallinn marketplace. We're anticipating the city funding about 14% of the total development cost. There'll be a land contribution from the MRA, and then we're applying for $2.4 million of home funds. We're estimating this total development cost to be over $24 million. So the city would be providing about 14% of the total development cost. JC has another question. Are you going to have property management on site? Yes. All of our properties are professionally managed by Monarch Properties, Inc. You're welcome to Google their website, but they will be on site. And the targeted employees that we have on site would be one full-time leasing manager and a full-time maintenance to keep the property up. This will be our 10th property in the city of Albuquerque. We were established as a citywide CHOTA over 30 years ago, and all of our work has been within the city of Albuquerque. We only work here.
And Felipe, this is Jackie again. I thought maybe we could mention the Highland Plaza project, which is about to open also on Central, if people are familiar with that project down the street.
Sure. So we just received our certificate of occupancy, and we have 58 residents in units already at 5,000 Central Southeast. So just about 2,200 blocks over 2,200 because this site's at 7,200 at 5,000. We also have an additional site up the street not quite in the international district anymore, but at 10,600 Central, uh, called Luminaria. And then also the two properties in the international district being Plaza Feliz and Casa Feliz, that have been there respectively since 2012 and 2016. So JC, you probably didn't hear the intro at the beginning, but we are a local nonprofit here in Albuquerque, that was established 30 years ago by the city. We're an independent nonprofit now, but all of our work has been done in the city during our history. Does your project, so JC has another question, does your project attract positive development into the area? I'd like to think we do. We've done some real catalyst projects. We did one at 4th, just north of Mountain, that has spurred additional development since we moved into that site. We started construction in 2014, finished in 2016, and there's been a substantial development also. A lot of the sites that we highlight are infill sites, such as this one here, where we're bounded on the side by commercial aspects to the south, the Tallinn Marketplace to the west, and Cinnamon Tree Apartments to the east. So as infill developers, we usually kind of go where we're filling in the block or are doing other activities. But we like to think that bringing in a substantial investment, in this case over $22 million, some additional eyes on the street, additional residents that are paying no more than 30% of their income towards rent, will help support local businesses and contribute to the local economy and local area. Up in our chat, you can see our website and some of our communities, and I welcome you to drive by them or visit them virtually, to see kind of the level of development, the real quality and attention to detail. We partner with local firms such as Hartman and Juski Design Group. We have a preference for local contractors. The idea is we want this to be economic development for Albuquerque, employing New Mexico residents and keeping our gross receipts tax dollars here in the state. Seeing Okay. JC has one question. Is the entire project all low-income housing residents? Of the 70 units as proposed, once again, between now and final closing, things can change slightly, but as proposed, of the 70 units, 59 of them will be income restricted at or below 60% of area median income, and 11 will be quote unquote market rate, where there wouldn't be any restrictions. And so, answer definitively, the answer at this point is not. We're not anticipating 100% low income. We are looking at a mixed income community. I can pull those up and give you an idea. The question on the floor is average rents. Just give me a second to pull up some schedules. We're basically having 3 income bands. Some of the rents will be net to the resident as low as 406. 706, and the high band for the 60s would be 856. And then we're forecasting the market to be just a little over 900. The question on the floor is, based on your projections, how fast do you anticipate full occupancy? Um, Let me just kind of think in broad terms here. Uh, we're anticipating to start construction January of 2025. We're looking at a 16 to 18 month construction period duration. We probably start pre-leasing probably April or so of 2026, with about a good 40 to 50% of those units being kind of pre-leased, with folks moving in about as soon as we um, get our certificate of occupancy, and those units are ready for habitation. Just given the need in our community, we've seen estimates of 15 to 17,000 units needed in Albuquerque for rents at these levels, set aside for kind of affordable housing or workforce housing, with the idea is we would achieve full occupancy by the end of 2026, at least on the residential space. The commercial space, our anticipated date is those might take a little bit of build out of tenant improvements, with the idea is we'd still like to get those operational with folks selling their wares by the end of 2026. And we typically achieve kind of stabilized occupancy within 3 to 4 months of kind of folks first moving into the building. The question on the floor is, do previous projects drive up crime or lower crime in the area? I'm not sure exactly how to answer that, JC. I will explain a little bit of some of the security features we do for our residents, and hope that kind of uh, meets the realm. The first thing I'd like to do is maybe challenge a little bit of assumption, is just because someone is low income does not mean they have no income. Even the folks at those lowest band will still have to show their ability to pay that 406 rent. But we do some security features at the property. We put security cameras. We have gated access for our parking. We also have kind of key card access that track the last 5,000 entrants. And then we don't form the community, but these communities form where folks are really looking out for their neighbors. And we really design these with SEPTED principles, such as crime prevention through environmental design. And our design team does a really great job of designing these so folks, either their bedroom and or their living room, kind of look out onto areas, and with a lot of communal gathering spaces, so folks are activating. We'd like to think that this site has been vacant for quite a few years. It's just been kind of fenced up and been kind of underutilized. That activating it with 70 new households, with the vibrant colors and some commercial aspect, that it'll really kind of clean up that corner, and this is folks' home, and folks seem to respect that in our other other areas of the city that we've built these affordable housing communities, that it's been really kind of welcome investment, and given some pride of ownership to the folks that call these apartments home. Parking. Can we switch back to the site plan with the parking? Um, um, there will be 32 on-site parking spaces. There are 70 residents. Given the integrated development ordinance, we are looking at taking the parking reductions that we need, and we're also envisioning having 5 street parkings, on-street parkings, counting towards our total. We've seen that in a lot of our other communities, we try and right size the parking. We're going to have a dedicated van pool, a dedicated ride share loading zone outside of the gated entry, a number of EV capable or EV ready. We're hoping to put in the charging infrastructure, but at least EV ready with the stubs and electrical panel ready to handle those loads. With the idea is that we wouldn't impact our neighbors with parking. Given it is affordable housing, some folks do not have cars. And so, oh, thank you, Miriam. We will install 2 chargers, given our requirements with the MRA. So we are looking to target those. And so we try and right size the parking. No one wants to see a sea of parking that's being underutilized, but we also want to make sure that we're being respectful neighbors and kind of right sizing. I think the proximity to the bus along Louisiana, I think that's the 157, along with the rapid ride stops, taking advantage of the city's art investment, will really decrease the need to need to have a car to live here at Somos. Thank you. And Victor also added, we're also having secured bicycle parking for the residents. So. JC, is your question just on speculation that the parking will be sufficient? We have examples of utilizing the city's IDO reductions for parking. We have one property that has 107 units with about the same number of parking as this one. We have other ones that have seas of parking. So I think we've learned specifically the last 5 years of doing of right sizing this parking, and on our more recent developments, given we have developed under the IDO, I think we're seeing those being about right sized. Give me a second to look that up real quick. Right, we are in the Albuquerque MSA, and we will be targeting incomes at the 60% level likely not to exceed 38,400. For comparison, the median income of Albuquerque is 86,500. And so the idea is we're trying to help folks that are working, earning on that rate about $19 an hour, but setting their rents at those max levels that were shared earlier. Yes, so 38.4 will be the max for the low income households. That's based on current limits. Yes, so Miriam clarified, thanks. That's the max income for the 59 targeted households under 60% of area median income. There would be no income restriction for the 11 market rate units that we are proposing. JC has a question on the floor. Do all the tenants have to have a job to live on your property? I don't know exactly how to answer that. I mean, someone could be retired, not technically have a job, but I would say that everyone would have to have income because there are income tests that they have to be able to qualify for the units. So just because it's low income, once again, doesn't mean no income, but there could be folks that are retired or have some other type of assistance, SSI, et cetera, that wouldn't be working per se, but they would have to have income to live at the property. I might defer to Kelly Senier, our Director of Operations, on just kind of Monarch's leasing procedures.
Sure. The question is in regards to background checks, and there are criminal, credit, background checks, and then also, obviously, as Felipe mentioned, income verifications. It's a pretty lengthy process as folks are applying to move in.
Thank you, Kelly. Kelly, do you mind taking that one also, please?
Yeah, I will. So it's not an if and or a yes and no question. Criminal records, there's a lot of factors that go into account in order to comply with the Fair Housing Act under the Housing and Urban Development section of the government. So that's just a more complicated question than you can really answer here. There are certainly specific criminal acts that would disqualify somebody, But there's also the length of time and the severity of the act, and some other considerations that the property is required to take into consideration.
So I'll kind of add on that, just kind of our thought process on it. We are a local nonprofit. We're in the business of housing um, low income individuals, but we're also running a business. The idea being, if one resident is a nuisance to their fellow residents, that impacts our ability to operate that business. And so we do have kind of occupancy standards. Um, so I'd like to think that we're good neighbors, um, not only to the community at large, but that we're creating a safe and welcoming environment for all the 70 households. So we'll call this home. Victor, do you mind taking that one?
Sure, Felipe. I think that's something that we still have to study a little bit further just to see if that's something we're able to achieve. So that's to be determined.
Probably both. So the question on the floor is, will the lights continue to be studied? Um, Even with the $24 million budget, we will have some constraints. Our intent is to utilizing as much of that existing infrastructure. The city put in those beautiful sidewalks, that obelisk on the um, realm. But I'll let Victor kind of take it from here.
Oh, Felipe, this is Keaton here. Can you hear me?
I can. Go ahead, Keaton.
Yeah, actually, it's a good question, and it's going back to Felipe, what you mentioned about crime prevention through environmental design. So when we will design, there will be lighting. We want to make sure that the pedestrian experience walking on Alcazar or Central any time of the day in the dark, there is abundant amount of lighting, not too harsh, but a balanced amount of lighting, so people feel safe walking around this property. So there will be light fixture mounted on the facade of the building. There will be lighting. So we'll be working with the city of Albuquerque, because anything on the street lights is the infrastructure that belongs to the city of Albuquerque. So we'll have to work with the city of Albuquerque. And if those light fixture cannot be updated, there will be additional light fixture on the facade of the building also that will give a nice balanced lighting and a positive experience for the pedestrian.
And Felipe, this is Sierra from the Metropolitan Redevelopment Agency. I would also add that sometimes we find our projects are near kind of a checkerboard of lights. So some streetlights are owned by the city of Albuquerque, but some streetlights are owned by P&M. And if any of the streetlights near this project are owned by P&M, we can't really touch them. That's their property. So it really depends on kind of ownership as well. But I do know that your project, like you said, is designed to also cast its own light, whether or not it's technically publicly owned or not. The light from your property should help the pedestrian experience as well.
Great. Awesome. Thank you, guys. JC has a question on the floor about recreational areas. We can go back to the site plan. That's not something, unfortunately, that we're really able to kind of fit in on this tight site. Being just a little under an acre, trying to hit the parking counts, the unit counts. That's just something, unfortunately, that just we couldn't put a big substantial. We are adjacent to hopefully other kind of municipal investments. I know the city's working on increasing proximity to parks and doing a study across the city for areas that don't have a short enough kind of walking distance to a park to remedying some of that. But unfortunately, with the site plan, our budget and kind of parking requirements, that was something that we just couldn't quite fit in. We are envisioning an indoor. Are we doing an indoor fitness center? I don't want to speak out of turn here if I'm misremembering. Anyone on the team want to pipe up?
Right now, we just have the community room.
Okay, unfortunately, no fitness. Thank you, guys. So, answer unfortunately is no, JC. Lori has shared that there are close ride to the Cesar Chavez Park. I think the 157 bus takes us right along there on left half-mile park to a nearby. I think that's Phil Chacon. Where kind of some of the community benefits would be the large community room and lounge space to provide just that community building. Sure. So what we're envisioning there is, I think they're called like a traffic table. Basically, it's a raised or different surface with the idea it's connecting directly off that sidewalk that's coming from Tallinn, kind of just north of that surface parking lot. With the idea is it's a visual barrier that something's a little different here, connecting into that commercial space. As Mirren adds on, it's a speed table. It will slow traffic. So it's basically raised almost to the level or to the level of the sidewalk. So it's kind of almost like a big speed bump. That's kind of the way to think of it. You kind of come up onto it, you go over it, and then kind of come down. So it's both visually a little bit different than just the asphalt, but there also it does kind of traffic, kind of slow down that traffic, so folks can safely park once, safely walk and access the commercial spaces. Does that answer your question, JC? It is not in place currently. Are you talking the commercial space or the speed table?
Felipe, I was going to also add, this is Jackie again, that if the question is, are they used in other places, or is the question about, is it used here already? Because there's one downtown by the convention center, a speed table just like this. And like Felipe said, it serves to slow and calm traffic. And as Sierra adds, there's one near the rail yards at Santa Fe and 2nd Street.
All right, I think we have time for one more question. We had to notice as part of that. I'm pretty sure they were included. Um, were included in our mailings. Perhaps they're even on the call. And the idea is that it's for pedestrian safety.
Yeah, and Felipe, this is Jackie. I can confirm that Colin was notified of this meeting. And I think there's a representative here tonight from Tallinn.
Well, thank you guys. Let's go, if we can go to the last slide. I'd like to make sure to leave our contact info up so everyone, if anyone has any additional information, there's our website. You can submit questions there. If not, our email and phone number. And so with that, I would like to thank you for joining us this evening. Once again, I'm Felipe Real, Executive Director of the Greater Albuquerque Housing Partnership. And this has been a presentation about the proposed project at 7200 Central called Somos.